Once educators have considered the different dimensions of thinking, cognitive, inquiry, dispositions, modalities, and creativity, they can focus on how to implement practical, high-quality models of the thinking dimensions across whole schools. Thinking Schools International has developed 3 pathways or approaches for schools embarking on the journey of becoming thinking schools. Each pathway has a model to facilitate its implementation.
We've developed models that are student-centered, that are practical, that are adaptable, that students can learn quite easily. There's so much information that students need to hold on to. And one of the powers of having a visual tool is here they have an array of their information. It's nicely laid out, but it's still tentative. There's a lot of information in a textbook that students are asked to read and reflect on. They need to feel that they can step back, look at the array of information, and then have tools, for example, with thinking points, to pattern that information, generate and organize ideas, that they have really some very clear structures for doing inquiry and problem solving.
The Dispositions for Mindfulness pathway helps students to be mindful of their own thinking while being open to the other ways people think and act.
As a school, we are now focusing a lot more on metacognition and getting the children to think about their own learning and their own thinking.
The open mind model emphasizes the following dispositions: connecting, persisting, being flexible, reflecting, and being precise.
The open minds model it really is derived from habits of mind. Each one of us has certain degrees of persistence and certain degrees of impulsivity. And we connect in different ways. We have empathy in different ways. But around the world, we have those kind of characteristics or habits of mind that really ground us as human beings.
To implement these dispositions school-wide, educators at Thinking Schools prepare the environment, introduce the disposition, and facilitate understanding, and apply the disposition in class.
The children are now becoming much more articulate, and they're able to explain what they're thinking and explain their answers much more effectively.
The children are more independent and in control of their learning, and that's demonstrated through them being articulate, through the homework they've produced, through the scores that they're achieving on a day-to-day basis.
This pathway we call questioning for inquiry. It's based on students becoming really fluent with asking their own questions.
Of course, also, a lot of schools are very keen to develop and improve the quality of the questioning that goes on in the classroom. It's also about looking at open-ended questions that will challenge the students to think in a broader or even in a deeper way.
The Reflective Action Process, or RAP model, encourages students to use questions to identify actions, make informed decisions, and solve problems. The RAP model has 5 cyclical processes: reacting, researching, redesigning, rethinking, and revisioning.
It's basically, if you will, comes out of some very traditional formats, such as the scientific method. So it's all the way through focused simultaneously really on teachers asking facilitative questions, but students having the time and some of the practice time to become fluent with asking questions of themselves and in groups. So the 3 models that we offer are really the thinking points for developing cognitive skills and thinking skills and critical thinking, the dispositions, the open minds model, and then the inquiry model. Now what's key is that over time, the students start to mesh those together. And so they really have a foundation for learning content, but also maturing as thinkers.